Hi, I'm Dr. Laurie Marker, and I'm the founder and executive director of the Cheetah Conservation Fund. And how nice to be with my friends from the Wildlife of Africa Conservation Initiative in Nigeria for the 11th annual International Cheetah Day. So this is very, very exciting. And here we're going to be talking about slowing down the cheetah's pace towards extinction. Cheetahs are the fastest of all the land animals, and they can go up to speeds of about 110 kilometers per hour, but they're just a sprinter and they can't run full speed very far. But with that, they're Africa's best hunter. Everything about the cheetah is built for speed, from its anatomy and physiology. Just look at how it's aerodynamically built with that small head and long legs and that long body, long tail. Their claws are dog-like and mostly used like cleats for traction and running. Of course, you can always tell a cheetah from any of the other big cats by those black tear marks which run down from their eyes and are very useful to them when they are hunting in the sun's glare, because they refract the glare, but they also help act like a sight or a scope on a gun is for a hunter. So the cheetah is Africa's most endangered big cat. And it is just an amazing animal. And today we're celebrating its speed and elegance. The cheetah has a long history on Earth, and it is one of the oldest of all the big cats. It comes from what's called the puma lineage, and its closest relatives are that of the North and South American cougar or mountain lion, as well as the South America jacaranda. But the cheetah was always thought to be most unique, and it is still considered the only species in its genus, which is Acinonyx. The cheetah has a long history with humans as well, although with that history also comes the decline of the population. So they've been loved to near extinction, from kings, emperors, and princes who revered them as pets next to their thrones, to those who have hunted with the cheetah and followed behind the cheetah and stolen its kills. Today, there are considered to be 5 subspecies of the cheetah, but genetically they are very, very, very unique and very similar. And a bottleneck they went through probably about 12,000 years ago really does show that they're very, very similar. There are multiple threats facing the cheetah. The main one is that of loss of habitat. As the human populations grow, the land use for where the cheetahs and the wildlife that the cheetah hunts with and on have become much smaller. With that, there are less than 7,500 cheetahs left in the world today. As their habitat has declined, they come in more pressure with that of humans and their livestock, and that causes human-wildlife conflict. Another big problem facing the cheetah is that of the illegal wildlife pet trade, which I'll be talking about in a little bit. But the cheetahs live in very low numbers, their populations are very fragmented, and they do lack genetic diversity, causing them to be very threatened throughout their entire range. I started working with cheetahs back in the early 1970s. And from this, I was at a wildlife park in Oregon called the Wildlife Safari. And here I had an opportunity to actually not only study cheetahs, but work with a very, very unique cheetah, a cat named Kayam, who you can see here running in front of the sign, and my holding her when she was a tiny cub. I raised her from the time she was about a month old. And when she was a little over a year old, I took her to Namibia in 1977 and actually found out if a captive-born cheetah could learn how to hunt. But Kayam is who International Cheetah Day is named after. She was born on December 4th, and if it weren't for her and my raising her and going to Namibia, we wouldn't be where we are today in trying to save the cheetah. What I found out in 1977 was that farmers were killing cheetahs like flies. They would do what we call shoot, shovel, and shut up. They caught them in capture cages. It was all mostly a perceived threat to the cheetahs with their livestock. And during the 1980s, the farmers in Namibia actually killed over 10,000 cheetahs. And today's world population of cheetahs is less than 7,500. So I knew something had to be done and nobody was doing anything about it. And that's why I set up the Cheetah Conservation Fund. I wanted to know what we needed to do to stop the farmers from killing the cheetahs, not only in Namibia, but throughout their entire range. And as I traveled for the next 10 years throughout all of Africa and learning what the problems were facing the cheetah, I decided to set up the Cheetah Conservation Fund. So in 1990, I based myself in Namibia. And today we are the leading organization dedicated to saving the cheetah in the wild. We're a research, education, and training center, a sanctuary for orphan cheetahs with a registered veterinary clinic and a genetics laboratory. We're based on about a 54,000 hectare wildlife reserve and model livestock farm. We breed livestock guarding dogs. We have a goat dairy. And we also have a habitat restoration program. I won't be telling you all about all of those things, so I hope you'll go to our website, cheetah.org, to learn more about what we do. CCF takes an integrated systems approach. We're a research-based organization. We are an applied conservation organization and study everything that we do through our research. And we bring awareness through our education to schools, to farmers, globally, like International Cheetah Day. And we act as stewards for not only the land that cheetah lives on, and teach stewardship for everyone to try to maintain a habitat for cheetahs in the future. This is where cheetahs are found. The light yellow is where cheetahs were found 100 years ago. The darker yellow is where cheetahs are found today. In the last 100 years, we've lost over 90% of the cheetah's range. There are less than 7,500 cheetahs left in the world today in 31 populations in 23 countries. 20 of those populations are under 100 individuals, and that's not acceptable. Most all the cheetahs are found outside of protected areas. We're based down in Namibia in the southern part of Africa, so you can see where we're based. And we also have a base up in Somaliland for the last couple of years, up in the Horn of Africa. The blue dots are where we've also been working with these other cheetah range countries to try to help them put programs into effect to try to help save the cheetah. We try to keep cheetahs living in the wild. That's where cheetahs belong. They're the most amazing animal on the face of the earth, and they play a really key role to maintaining the health of ecosystems. I want to talk a little bit about the work that's going on in Somaliland today. Here, the cheetahs are actually caught from the Horn of Africa, stolen from their mothers as young cubs, and are then smuggled over through the Gulf of Aden into the Middle East, where they're sold as pets. And the demand is very, very great. Between 2012 and 18, we see an average of about 210 cheetahs offered online for sale each and every year. We're thinking about 300 cubs are leaving the wild from the Horn of Africa every year. And for every one cheetah that might make it into the pet trade, about 4 or 5 of them die en route. And for every one of these cubs that is there in the pet trade, they only last for about 1 or 2 years because of poor nutrition and the lack of knowledge on how to take care of these cats. Currently in Somaliland, we have 60 cheetahs and 1 leopard that are in our sanctuary. They come in horrible condition, malnourished, starving. Just in the last 3 months, we've had 29 cheetahs come in that have been confiscated by our partners, which are the Ministry of Environment and Rural Development in Somaliland. So we've been working on combating the illegal wildlife pet trade. Just recently, we have actually signed an MOU with the Somaliland government to try to help develop programs to stop the illegal wildlife trade. Another aspect, we're working with a group funded by DEFRA, the UK development organization, called LICIT, which is the Legal Intelligence for Cheetah Illicit Trade. Working together with the Horn of Africa countries, we're trying to look at empowering the legal component, understanding and training rural communities, veterinary communities, farmers, and police to try to combat the trade. A little bit about our work over the last 30 years. As a science-based organization, we actually have been collecting samples and from cheetahs that have been caught from the farming communities. We've analyzed samples. We look at both reproduction, overall biology, overall health, and genetics of every cheetah that we've worked on. We've worked on over 1,000 cheetahs, and many of them multiple times. We've been able to put over 600 of those cheetahs back out into the wild. These are animals that were caught and didn't need to be caught. They were perceived threat to livestock. And so the farmers allowed us to collar them and put them back out in the wild. In the early days, we used VHF collars. Today, we're using GPS collars that allow us to monitor these cats through the use of our computers and satellites. But these are animals that were able to go back out into the wild immediately. And today, fortunately, more farmers have stopped catching as many cheetahs. And so that has been very helpful to try to help save the cheetahs here in Namibia. Just to show you what we've learned about the cheetahs, and we have been able to, in the last 30 years, be the baseline for everything you'd want to know about how the cheetah lives and its biology and genetics and reproduction. And these are wild cheetahs, and we found that their home ranges are more than 1,600 square kilometers. Now, this farm map here, each one of those white squares is about 5,000 hectares. And we're finding that cheetahs are covering about 20 farms, each of them being about 5,000 hectares. The cheetahs live in a very low density and they live over very large areas. And we're finding between 2 to 12 cheetahs for 1,000 kilometers square. And this is from our camera trap studies, which we've been doing for a number of years, about 15 years, and collecting a lot of data on how cheetahs are living, where they're living. So camera trap studies have allowed us to learn a lot more about how the cheetahs are living. Females and males are very different than most carnivores. Females cover multiple male areas. Like here, the green are actually just one female, and you can see she's covering multiple male areas, which are in the red. And that's also very different than how any of the other carnivores are living. A little bit about our education programs. We found that education is critical. Who do we educate? Farmers, communities, children, policymakers, global audiences, veterinarians. So from our model farm, we worked with Future Farmers of Africa and lots of school children in our Namibian outreach programs, which all of these programs we're now putting into practice up in Somaliland as well. And many of our partners, Botswana and Zimbabwe, South Africa, as well as up in Kenya and Tanzania, are doing multiple the same programs. Here in Namibia, we worked with over 650,000 school learners, about 25,000 school kids per year. We've developed a teacher's guide, which is called A Predator's Role in the Ecosystem, working with the school children, which will be possibly the next farmers of tomorrow, teaching them how the cheetah lives, why it lives, and what you can do to live in harmony with the cheetah. We also get interns, university students. We've had over 1,000 interns in the past 30 years, many of them staying with us for up to 6 months to a year at a time. And these are our future conservationists, our future biologists and scientists, our African scientists. We're very, very proud of the interns that have come through. We've worked with over 15,000 rural farmers in our Future Farmer of Africa training program, teaching them how important farm management, livestock management, veterinary care is to the protection of their livestock. It's not just the predator that's causing the problem, it's how we take care of our livestock. And those are the big critical issues that we have tried to teach here. We use livestock guarding dogs, and about 25 years ago, we set up a livestock guarding dog program. This is an Anatolian Shepherd, or a Kangal dog, which is from Turkey. And we've been breeding and raising these dogs and placing them with rural farmers for the past 25 years. During that period of time, we've actually placed nearly 700 dogs with the rural farming communities. And from that, we find an 80 to 100% reduction in livestock loss with the farmers that have these livestock guarding dogs. These dogs are big, they bark very loudly, they grow up with the flock, and they stay and protect their livestock from predators. It's an avoidance. The predators don't want to be near the dogs, they know they're big, and the predators avoid the flocks where the livestock guarding dogs are. So keeping cheetahs in the wild is the most important thing. They're just an amazing animal. They play a key role in the health of the ecosystem. But not all the cheetahs that we work on are able to go back out into the wild. Many of them do. And many of them go through what is a rehabilitation program. For every cheetah that comes in, it is checked. And then for the ones that we do rehab, we do put satellite collars on. Rehabilitation, though, is different than just putting an animal that has been a perceived threat to a farmer that had been caught in a captured cage. Rehabilitation is when we get young cats in that are not old enough to go back out in the wild, but are too old to be hand raised and are not habituated to us. We raise them up until they're about 2 to 2.5 years of age, and then we rewild them. Over the years, we've been able to put over 35 cheetahs, which have been rehabilitated and released, back out into the wild. And we've had an excellent survival rate with them. We monitor them very, very closely with not only the collars, but also tracking them and sticking with them until we know that they are finding water, that they're hunting appropriately on their own. And then we're able to monitor them from afar with the use of their GPS collars. We've had great success with many of our cats having reproduction. And this, of course, is the ultimate success of rehabilitation. And of the cubs that have actually been born, we've actually had second generation cubs that have been born to our rewilded cats have now also been reproducing, and their cubs are reproducing as well. Our survival rate has been about 61%, and this is an excellent survival rate. And that has to do with the fact of how we go about our rewilding program. And much of this really revolves around the care that we give them. Now, I've been working with cheetahs for over 45 years. This is a cheetah in our backyard here in Namibia, whose name is Chewbacca. He came in when he was about 10 years of age, and he was not rewilded. But he did take me into the bush regularly and show me marking trees and how cheetahs live in the wild, and helped me learn much more about how cheetahs live. But we want to keep cheetahs living in the wild. And I want to remember Kayam, who brought me to Namibia in 1977 and 1978. And I was able to teach her how to hunt. I brought her back to America, and she became an ambassador for her kind. But today we're celebrating International Cheetah Day to try to celebrate cheetahs everywhere and come up with strategies so that the cheetah can live in the wild. I want to thank all of you for being a part of celebrating International Cheetah Day, and please join us and be a part of saving the cheetah for our future generations. Go to our website, cheetah.org. Go to our all of our hashtags, Save the Cheetah, hashtag International Cheetah Day, and CCF Cheetah. Thank you very much.